And maybe you've never went all the way through the book of Ephesians before, but if you've ever read these spiritual warfare verses, you might notice it differently now after looking at all of this other stuff, right? Because this is one part of one chapter with a whole bunch of other stuff in it. And if we live our life like 80% of the Christian life is about spiritual warfare, then we have missed the point, because he did not spend 90% of this book on this. All right. Spiritual warfare is a part of our life and our journey and our what we need to be doing in the church, but it ain't everything. It's far from everything. And if you're not doing all the practical stuff that we've already looked at, then don't jump to chapter 6 and skip all the submission part and all the holiness part we just looked at and jump right to spiritual warfare, right? We do this as Christians and we need to quit it. So he says, finally, verse 10, finally, after all of these things I've said for 5.5 chapters, finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Where's the power to live this kind of life come from? Comes from him. Comes from the Lord. Gives us the power to do what is right. We just have to be willing to. Verse 11, put on the full armor of God so that you can make your stand against the devil's schemes. So, does Satan only worry about the unsaved people, doesn't care? No. He's scheming. Does he just come out and be like, I'm evil, I'm Satan, I want to harm you, you should probably not listen to what I'm going to say, but do it anyway? No, he's scheming, he's tricky, he's cunning. He's the saboteur, is what I call him in the Empower Christian Roadmap. I call him the saboteur because he does it subtle sabotage is how he gets in people's lives. A lot of times people don't even realize it. That's why we need to have clarity with our thinking and our life. So he says, make your stand against the devil's schemes. He doesn't say, put on your armor so you can charge Satan's kingdom and kick down the gates of hell and bind and rebuke the spirits and throw them into hell, and no weapon formed against you will prosper, and all you have to do is have faith and say words with confidence and faith, and then demons have to do whatever you tell them to. He says, put on the full armor of God so that you can make your stand against the devil's schemes. It's a defensive posture right here. And then he says, verse 12, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this world's darkness, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Our struggle as Christians is not against humans. It's not against government. It's not against communism. It's not against capitalism. It's not against COVID-19. It's not against terrorism. It's not against poverty. It's not against racism. What else could I say? Our main struggle underneath all of those things, and I agree they're all bad, well, some of them, the main struggle is against the powers of this world's darkness and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. All of those other things are being influenced by Satan's forces in the background and their own sin nature, which is part of the powers of this world's darkness. Because of that, because our main fight is not against the things of this world, verse 13, therefore take up the full armor of God. You can't wear the armor of the world because your fight is not against the world. Your fight is against the spiritual forces, so you need the armor of God.